let me ask you this. So knowing what you know, you got daughters 15 and 18. You look back at the sacrifices that the entire family made. There's a cost to everything. Right? The cost to your family. When you look back 30 years later, would you do things different?
Yeah, I would force myself through tiredness and through long hours at work to spend more time with my girls and to be there for them more often. With that, they're very fortunate; they have a great mom. So I'm still. I think that's why sometimes, Nick, I'm just amazed at what terrific people they turned out to. Like, my youngest, Audrey, almost knows what I'm thinking ahead of time, so she can come in, she can read me, and she's like, "Tell me what's wrong," Yeah. And it's like they're special people that way. And what I hope I did was I introduced them to a lot of things that I think that they needed to see in this world. And I'm proud of that. I took them to, veterans ceremonies. I taught them stuff that, not everyone has what we have. And we would go to, help folks out. And I think they took a lot away from that, and they realized that they're really living a blessed and fortunate life, and they're just wonderful kids.
Well, and it's a tough thing because as a let's just say TV and movie, let's just say that the pay is a little different.
Yeah.
So, but the sacrifice is the same,
right?
So, like, I don't know. Jason Aldean's kids, they're able to do things in a little bit different manner, just because maybe there's the comma's in a different spot in the bank, or there's extra zeros and whatnot. You know what I mean? But the sacrifices are about the same. It's entertainment.
Yeah, he's on the road a lot, but he's figured it out, right? Yeah. And it goes back to what you said before. It's making that conscious decision to be there for your family, even though you realize that you might be taking away from something else you want to get done in your life at that moment. It's the acknowledgement of that I think is so important. And I'll tell you what, if you have baby girls, open their door for them every time they get in the car. Every time they go through a door, you make sure that you're the gentleman that you want them to eventually meet. And that's been very important for me too, because I think they get it.
So as one of the things I'm learning, when my wife and I are having these conversations, I like every once in a while we'll have fun where she'll be like, I'm tired. I'm like, look, we are not old. We are not playing the old card. All right. So, but at the same time, I'm like, a lot of the decisions that we're making now at 44 we could have made it 34, but you realize at 44, the time that has passed. Yeah. And when you're in your 20s, you take all that for granted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've wasted at least a decade.
Of course.
Like, just totally wasted it.
Yes. I feel the exact same way. I appreciate every moment I had in the TV career. But I do wish that I had reset a little bit earlier.
Yes, that was where I was going with it, right?
It was if I could do that in my 40s as opposed to my 50s, my late 50s, I would 100% go back to that guy and say, now, pull the plug, now, go. I'm whispering.
Dramatics.
It's kind of odd. It's very odd. Look, I spent some time beating myself up about that, but I can't anymore. I can't do that. I eventually made the change. I have to understand that everything happens for a reason in your life. And my time was later than others. I did everything later in life. I got married later in life. I had kids later in life. I left my career to start a new career later in life. Got to accept it. And I still feel like I have a lot of growing to do. And that when you start having conversations with friends saying, man, I wake up and I feel like I'm injured just from sleeping, and there's this programming that happens in society that, that when you get to be in your 50s, 55, 50, it's time to slow down.
Yeah.
Time to back off the gas. Time to protect those injuries. Time to, maybe put on a few pounds and just buy bigger clothes.
Let go. Just let it all go.
Let it go. You put in your time. And it's a norm. It's kind of programmed into us.
I agree.
And I want to change that. I want people to realize that the best years of your life are when your kids are adults and you actually have the means to do some things instead of just traveling and, going on tourist boats and stuff like that. You can actually go out and do adventures. You can, at 59 years old, you can bike 56 miles and run 13.1 miles. You can do it. I did it. I did not think I could do it because I'd given up running a long time ago because my knees were problematic. And the fact is
I was going to ask you about that because
I came up with 1,001 excuses why I could no longer run. I had plantar fasciitis. My knees hurt. My right hip would hurt. I couldn't stand up for a very long time. And I could feel my body in a state of deterioration. And I was accepting it. So I would go to the gym and I'd lift weights to make myself feel better. And the weights are great. I love it. But actually now getting back into some longer distance running and definitely long distance riding, and I'm virtually pain-free. And it's because I've addressed the root causes of the pain. Right? It's carrying a little bit too much weight. It's not stretching properly. It's some of the supplements that I'm taking that kind of help assist with your joint movement and stuff. It all kind of comes together, and everyone's different, Nick. There's no prescribed course on how to do what I'm doing, but the fact is you have to make a decision just to get on the course. To get back in. And I see it with, I meet people that are 10 years younger than me that look 10 years older than me.
Fact,
right.
They probably look 20 years older, Neil.
Well, and the fact is first of all, some of it's genetics. I'm very lucky about that, but also I'm now putting in the work.
Well, it's intentional.
Everything's intentional now. And there was a time there where, someone would say, oh, you're coloring your hair, or you're doing this, or, you got your teeth whitened. And I'd be like, no, because I hadn't. Well, now the answer is yes.
That's right.
I'm taking everything in the arsenal and I'm using it right now.
Right.
And, I have a great doctor who kind of helps me walk through some of these different things that I'm doing. I don't do anything recklessly or irresponsibly, but I do it all with caution, and I do it all with purpose. And if it's not working, I stop. Move on.
Somebody told me one time, he literally looked me right in the face. He said, Nick, you know why it's important that you push your limits? I said, no, why? He goes, because you're the one that set them.
Right.
And I was like, dang,
it's so true. And we put limits on ourselves in just virtually everything we do in life. And the days used to seem long, and now the days don't seem long enough.
That's right.
Because when you're living with purpose and you're going out and accomplishing things each and every day, it's 8:00 at night. What happened to the day? But I started doing this thing right when I left work, and I talked to you a little bit about it. I'm still doing it. I wake up, I open up my computer, and I write first thoughts. First thing in my mind.
Such a healthy thing to do, yeah.
Then I write the 10 things that I am going to do today. And they can be anything. Put the dishes away, mow the lawn, whatever. And they can be some more intense things. And then I write a paragraph again on where I am after writing those 10 things down. I usually come up with some really cool stuff, right? I'm saving them. I'm going to put them together someday because it's enabled me to really focus on the day and really make the most out of my time, where before kind of like, I wake up at 1:30. I'll be back here at 11 o'clock, and I don't know, I'll go for a run or golf or something like that. And I don't have time for golf anymore. It's like,
that's right.
It's not a bad thing.
No. Well, it's like, where I'm going with this is,
where are you going with this?
Well, the Iron Man. Okay. Yeah. So, first of all, you said something before about, there's a cost to pretty much everything. I mean, everybody's got a price to pay, but yet everybody's price is just different.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
But the Ironman it's such a pivotal thing. And I think, a year from now, you're going to look back, it's what you're doing, literally like reinventing yourself, reintroducing yourself, professionally, personally, everything. You're literally like saying, hey, son, you know what I mean? Like when it comes up, you're not telling it goodbye on your way home in the morning. Like it's crazy. But like the Ironman is important because you're overcoming, you're like literally like everything in life is based on beliefs, based on habits, based on previous experiences and everything else. And for like, even for me, working out is, I want to look a certain way. I want my clothes to fit in a certain way. but like I need to go out there and kick the weight room's ass.
Yeah.
So that I can go out and kick the ass it's the momentum.
Yeah.
And like, so you doing the Ironman was huge in my opinion in what you're doing, because you have to have that momentum to get where you're going next and what you're doing next.
So I'm different because I'm older than you. When I look in the mirror right now and I look at myself after doing all the training, the months and months of training, I'm looking at someone who's 10 to 15 years younger. Mm-hmm. That changes my whole outlook on the day, on everything. If I showed you the before picture right when I left TV news, suits can cover up a lot of ugliness. Mm-hmm. And then I showed you what I look like now. It's literally like looking at myself 20 years ago, what's changed. But what I found interesting about the Ironman is that you can prepare as much as possible. You can ride those rides, those down the Natchez Trace, and you can do those hills. You can run those runs, go to the Y at 5 o'clock in the morning, swim 3,000 yards. You can do everything possible to prep. And when you get to race day, everything's changed. Mother Nature's going to throw more 40-mile-per-hour winds at you. You start with, I've never ridden in rain before. I'm down riding in Panama City Beach, down in my aero position, getting pelted by heavy rain and wind. Later in the ride, bright sunshine. And I reach back for my water bottle with just all my supplements and everything mixed in already. Nothing's there. My water bottle's popped out on a bump. And then you're like, now I am faced with a whole different circumstance. And you finally get to the mile marker 45. And you're like, I can do 11 miles. And you turn the corner and the 40-mile-per-hour winds are coming right at you. The sand off the beach feels like pins going to your skin. And then you're getting gusts of 50 miles per hour where if you're not going fast enough, you will go right over on your side. I've passed a guy with a collapsed lung. I passed another guy getting loaded into an ambulance. I passed a woman had walked out onto the course in front of a bike. I saw it happen right in front of my eyes. And all this stuff is going through your mind and you're trying to get to that finish line. What I didn't count on is I burnt out my hamstrings on the ride because I was trying so hard just to get through that final 11 miles. When I got off my bike in the transition area, I fell to the ground. I couldn't get up for 5 minutes. My coach and two of my friends were sitting there going, 10 minutes in transition, that's bad. Yeah. I was like, actually, if you were there with me, you'd say you overcame probably one of the hardest things you've ever done in your life to finish that race. And it was. But when you think about that period of time, it's so much like life encapsulated. It doesn't matter how much you prepare, Nick. It doesn't matter how much you're ready to go. It doesn't matter how much of a game plan you have established. You're going to get thrown a curveball that you never expected. And the whole thing about it is, how am I going to get through? And how am I going to do it successfully?
There's, again, the reason that athletes, the best in the world, they all practice a certain way.
Right.
So that way, if you practice like it's game 7 in the World Series, when it is game 7, it's just another game.
Right.
And again, leveraging you overcoming those things, like when you're faced with overcoming the next thing in your professional life or even personal life, you're already like you've done that. You're conditioned to take it, and not just take it, but actually like win doing it. You know what I mean? Because of that, like it's why it's so important.
I think the second thing to overcoming those obstacles that happened during the race was the lessons I learned from the race, and the lessons I learned from the race that I can apply to my training now to make my training more like Game 7. Because before I was in La La Land, I've never done this before, right? I'd go out for the ride, and you'd have these OTB runs. OTB means off the bike and start running. Well, OTB to me meant go out and have lunch and take a shower and then put on your running stuff and go. You can't do that. You have to train yourself so that it's a game condition, so that when you get off that bike, you put your running shoes on immediately in your bike shorts and you start running. I learned stuff like this. I learned I need better water bottles.
Dude, it was cold when you were preparing for this too, by the way, here in Nashville.
Freezing cold. I had so many times on a treadmill and a stationary bike. I'm sick and tired of it. Tired of it. But the amazing thing is that when you're there's 2,000 other people that did the exact same thing you did. And some of the people that passed me on the course, Nick, I would not mistake them for triathletes if I met them in public, but they are. Some of the people that I passed, I'm like, well, he's in 10 times better shape than me. But it's this cultish kind of feeling of these people that are so dedicated to accomplishing this race. I can't. In my 60th year, I'm going to do a full triathlon.
Let's go.
And that's almost 3 miles swimming. That's the 140 miles riding and a full marathon afterwards. I can't believe I'm saying that right now after doing what I just did.
Yeah.
But if that carrot, it's not out there in front of you, you're not chasing anything.